right, it's another episode in the series Homo Politicus. I'm Cyril Abaku. Today on the program, we're looking at this. Another power grid collapse. Will the cycle ever end? If you didn't get it the first time, I'll take it again. Another power grid collapse. Will the cycle ever end? Now, the situation with power in Nigeria today isn't an enviable one. In a very definite sense, we could say the nation at any given time is either heading for a national grid collapse or just heading back from one. At the moment, the so-called national grid has collapsed once again. All kinds of reasons have been adduced as possible factors causing the unfortunate incident, but none has been a clear, viable solution. Question is, how long is long enough to have a nation held hostage by a grid which appears to have developed a mind of its own? What a question if you ask me. Let's talk about this now. I have with me in the studio chartered accountant and most definitely a valued public affairs analyst, Mr. Akin Fatunke. Mr. Akin, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, Cyril. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yes, this looks like a domestic animal that has gone wild and comes back home once in a while. It pretends to be back home, to be domesticated, then it goes loose again. So we can't tell if the animal is domestic or wild, maybe something in between. The grid keeps, today it's with us, tomorrow it's not with us. How do you even look at this?
Maybe it's a dinosaurs. Maybe it's a dinosaurs.
Okay.
That we can only continue to talk about in the past. We can see the image, but we say that they are extinct. And my prayer is that Nigeria will not go extinct. Still, we must face some of the facts. I like your allusion to animals. In this same Nigeria, we hear. I don't know whether you believe it. I don't know whether I should, because I'm still trying to unravel that animals are swallowing money and all that.
I didn't think that far. I have to be honest.
Tale of the impossible, tales of the unexpected here in Nigeria. For me, for the umpteenth time, whether in 2024 you say it's 8 times or 10 times that the grid has collapsed, and I hear now they say it's not collapsed, that's a system failure or whatever it is. We have again been thrown into darkness. I foresee a situation where if I was asked to write an essay for qualifying exams about Nigeria, I would say Nigeria is failing. It's failing. And we are failing in a very bad way. We shouldn't fail, but we are failing. Well, irrespective of whatever cause you want to adduce, and I saw your beautiful prologue there, the solution is not in sight.
In the conversation, yes.
I think the problem is the fact that we have not told ourselves the truth. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has not shown enough sinew and enough feet.
Yes. So,
listen. To acknowledge the problem.
Yeah.
Look, it goes beyond, and I also hear, and I'm sure you've heard, Cyril, that maybe saboteurs are at work and all that. Has not shown enough strength of character to tackle this head on. Yeah, I know you have inherited decrepit assets. I hear the last time is Boko Haram and insurgents that have put some close to about 19 northern states in darkness. The truth is, yet another system collapse, whence cometh another. I hope, and I pray that before we finish this program, another collapse will not. Even
even now, because the last time it happened, They are just fixed it, and then again, just almost immediately after it collapsed again.
They just fixed it. Who's fixing what?
Well, I mean, we can understand what happened in the north when the security leadership told us that they are going to be deploying assets into those areas where they have spotted bandits destroying power infrastructure, whatever that means. But when we look at global best practices, public infrastructure management has a code or has rules, because normally you build it with what you need at any given time, and then over time you continue to expand. For example, our population wasn't this much when the national grid was built. Somebody said the national grid is what has made the national grid not to expand and to blossom. Otherwise, one should have to imagine why successive government and even President Bola Tinubu's government has not thought of investing in infrastructure in a way that takes us off the arbitrary behavior. Or because one could almost, I find it difficult to separate myself from personifying the grid. This is behavior that is all too predictable, all too familiar, all too something that we've seen happen over and over again. Why aren't we once the of the grid?
I will also say that beyond, like you said, looking at the grid, and you made an allusion that we needed to have pump more money, do more investment. There are creative ways to invest. To invest on those, high value, high dollar. We are not earning enough, I hear. We are stealing the little that we should be getting, I hear. We have the potentials. We are looking at oil,
arbitrage,
and all that. So, but that notwithstanding, a very serious, creative financial management beyond even going to borrow will be assets listing and sell. The concept of the BOT, build, operate, and transfer. Again, the faulty privatization process that has put some of our assets. We keep on just going on. Mm-hmm. And when you have a high rise on a faulty foundation, no matter how you want to try and paint those high rises, it will still come crashing down. Serious, the truth of the matter is that I am not sure, as I speak with you, that the present government has clear-cut solutions. Maybe they have.
I like how you say clear-cut.
Maybe they have, and they have not communicated it well. And if you have not been able to communicate something well, it's either you don't have it, or you have no clue, you have no idea of how to go about it.
May I just jump in here, Akin? I'm glad you talked about clear-cut. It's not just enough to say, we will do this and then do this, but specifics. That's what I believe you're talking about. Clear cut. Now there's a challenge as to how clear cut can be. The government, would say that they naturally or normally intend to make things better. Power, water, food security, and everything. But on all of these counts, they also clearly appear to be failing. Now, the concern is that when we talk about what government should do, differently that can bring lasting solution, one wonders, why is it that the conversation has largely remained with the federal government? Some have said, let us decentralize. The load is too much on the national grid. The last time the NLC went on strike, they shut the grid down. The nation was in blackout. Federal government said, this is a national security risk. This is sabotage. This is treason. But the national grid itself has a mind of its own and goes off at any given time. Why aren't we worried that a hostile enemy, foreign agent, could come in and, for all you care, what if this was even actually sabotage and it was a foreign agent coming to do it? Aren't we worried enough to say we must come in from the vice grip of this grid and quickly do something different? Why aren't we treating this as the emergency that it ought to be?
Right. It should be an emergency that ought to be, and I get the impression that our politicians perhaps are not seeing beyond their nose,
Yeah.
or they are seeing beyond their nose. They have their separate agenda. Okay, an agenda whereby, okay, if it's going to fall, let it fall. Let it just go out there and scatter. I hate to believe that any responsible man or woman will be thinking in that direction. What will it take to begin to take your national security off a grid that has collapsed 10 times? Perhaps our neighbors that we used to feed, and that we used to feed, when I say feed, not just food, but even feed in terms of so many other factors, are just not ready. Otherwise, they will have just come around and taking advantage of balkanizing Nigeria. I know in the far north, during Buhari's time, an aspect of the north came, and then we were looking at Fulani militias that were allowed to come in, and we say to ourselves that we have cousins and brothers in some other parts, so they want to come in. Well, down in the south, the Bakassi, again, not knowing what is happening, churn a little bit out of it. Then in the Midlands, agitations, the Biafra agitations, they will do, Yoruba Nation agitation and all that, all pulling at the same time, not focusing our creative energies to continue to produce, and then the almighty umbrella of security caused by all these sites start making whoever is at the center to be able to think well and think straight. The conspiracy theory goes on and keeps on. I do not believe, I've not been able to put my hand on something, but something is fundamentally wrong. But Cyril, you are also making an allusion that why should we be looking at the center, and all that kind of stuff. But somehow, an aspect of it has been taken off the exclusive list.
Yes, and has been decentralized. So you expect that governors would have latched on. Lagos, for example, industrial Lagos,
so
coastal Calabar or Port Harcourt,
apart from
Rivers, Cross River,
apart from what we had happening in Abia, maybe one or two other states, I don't know, but everybody seems to be. And then I asked, why are you doing that? So we don't have enough money even to be thinking of paying salaries. Because we don't have enough money to be thinking of paying salaries.
Or we don't have ideas that can bring money.
We have ideas that can bring money, but when it comes, we have first tier, second tier, third tier. Okay, first tier is what we are going to steal, how we are going to use that to
unfortunately.
And so the solution, whether we are talking about the national grid collapse or systems, whether we are talking about education, which itself is collapsed, whether we are going to be talking about health, whether we are going to be talking about security,
it's been said,
we must deregulate Nigeria.
It's been said, let's play on words. It's been said that national grid is the reason for the collapse of the national grid.
Yes.
And I want to add that this is a vice grip. How do you intervene?
Well, yes. As a close student of literally
yes,
the grid is too much.
There's more grid than the grid can carry.
There's greed in being prependent, there's greed in stealing, there is greed in overall corruption, there's also greed in the way we administer ourselves politically. We can't seem to be able to agree to do what other nations do in our elections. So the greed about just wanting to just go in there, go grab, and once I'm able to grab, then I'm satisfied. After 4 years, re-grab, thrown away, some other persons will not come here. You must have read about how they catch monkeys in in Brazil. When they put all those nuts in the tight jar, all the monkey wants to see is just to get in there, forgetting that once he puts his hand there and grabs it like that, he won't be able to come out again. The thinking capacity to be able to think is gone out. So greed is such that you grab, take it out of the country. Even after you die, you begin to see money still coming in that will still be stolen and all that.
Yeah.
The solution is very, very simple in my mind. The political will to all allow ourselves to gather around together and renegotiate Nigeria.
And when will that be? This is November, of course. We're almost heading into mid-month. On a scale of 1 to 10, I mean, if you want to assess what's good from where we've been in from the beginning of the year, the first great collapse this year was in February, and it's been collapsing and coming back. December is usually.
The only thing I don't understand is, has it really been collapsing? Because if you collapse 1 or 2 times, you can't stand up again. But in this time, I understand. It looks like somebody is just pulling something and then pulling back.
And now between now and December, it could even double. I mean, because December is festive period, a lot of things. What should we be doing differently?
What we should be doing differently is to say, hey, wait a minute. Annus horribilis. Terrible year it has been for us. Terrible for our democracy in all respects. Again, go beyond looking at one man. Bola Tinubu is in it, just but all of us are involved in this. What do I expect us to begin to do? I expect us to seriously lift the lead on Nigeria not being negotiable. Nigeria is very much negotiable. We must begin, while we are talking, what the patriots have said we should do, all come together, fashion a new constitution, and even if you decide that you're not going to fashion a new constitution, recognize the fact that we are different in all respects, and begin to operate at our own basis, including revenue sharing. I know this is tough, I know this is difficult. The alternative to that would be another civil war. And whether we can afford another civil war or not, we are all sitting
from the great to a civil war.
On the of gunpowder, Cyril. I know you are much younger than me.
Of course.
But all through the time of my coming to this country, I have never had, unless maybe, I don't know, I've never had situations where they say greed is collapsing and collapsing and collapsing. And it
was never this bad.
Are you sure? Or is somebody, I don't know.
But whether the collapse of the national grid will lead to a civil war is what I'm still, because of course, this is not to shy away from the question. Obviously, a lot of challenges in this, our daily problems, I mean, the usual things that we deal with, have a way of snowballing into the national question, into an existential question, and then eventually going to the very root of Nigeria. It's always that easy. But for the national grid, I'm just wondering, is it that we're looking at a situation in which, to even bring a solution, we may first look at who is bringing what, who is saying what, what's his name, how does he worship, and then that takes precedence over and above the need for merit and excellence, and then eventually it's heading the wrong way.
Same principle for national grid, which would not say is greed, that is collapsing. Same with the SDG.
Yeah, every other thing.
There are 17 of them, which is doing red, as we speak. And the anger and the angst of people, including hunger, people are being pushed to the wall. You do something that I feel is not right.
And
I wish to enforce that. I know my answer to it. I'll set you ablaze. I'll set you on fire. We are getting to a tipping point.
Yeah.
And that tipping point, I tell you.
Because when the grid collapsed, yes.
Now wholesomely swallow the rich.
Because when the grid collapsed, it's as if the whole nation comes to a standstill.
Comes to a standstill or regresses.
Regresses basically. Okay, so yeah, now as we take this home, a collapsed national grid does not do the nation or anybody any good. Before we coast home, one would have thought that the segmentization or categorization of consumers into bands, band A, band B, band C, to whatever band, would have helped to, one of the things it was to do was to show up more money for the system. Why aren't we seeing the gains that should have come from consumer, segmentization, leading to more money and then leading to more investment in the infrastructure to help it become better?
Yorubas have a saying, what that means is water pass Gary. The problem is so wide that even if you have a marginal returns in some of the things that you have just mentioned, it will just be like a drop in the ocean, not making much of an impact. In the first place, the segmentation that you mentioned, ordinarily, all put together, should give the kind of expected result that you are getting. But have we done it well?
Because Nigeria has a way of defining logic all the time.
In a way and manner that even those that you segment, I've had people that says that, okay, look, to segment us into a band A, please take me away from band A because I think it's just too expensive. I've also seen people that says that national power infrastructure should not be something that we should...
Of a luxury.
Of ABC.
Yeah.
Therefore, it means if Nigerians or rulers of Nigeria were God and a natural resource as common as the air that God has given us to free, they will still segment it amongst us.
And tax it.
So some people will have free air, some people will be choked, some people will not even be in existence at all. My take, therefore, is that, I was going to say, national emergency in power. Is there an aspect of our lives that we should not
declare an emergency? The ones they've declared haven't brought any result, like agriculture and so on.
With all the potentials we have, the structure of lying against ourselves that we are a country when we are not, we are a state that is coerced by force, and for that matter that we are a federation when we are absolutely not, belies our capacity to be able to say yes, we be able to put our hand on the handle of the problem. And so let's continue to inch forward. What I see that we are doing in my mind is that we do not have a national consensus on how to be able to move it forward. And so the collapse will continue to happen. And the state of Enugu, the state of Enugu is such that, so it happens one time too many and then so we just get used to it and all that. And then we open our plans until somebody else
becomes culture.
And then come on, carry us away. Are you not seeing, well, maybe not necessarily, a nexus, national grid collapsing and stuff like that, and then we're still having this horrendous...
Because nobody even knows the receipts from fixing the grid.
And so is it deliberate that when you collapse the grid and everybody will be in darkness and then some militias will come and start to sack people, come and kill people and all that? Honestly, again, and the age of reason such that you can now bring education and people can begin to reason is just not there. People are saying, go ahead and sack the minister, go ahead and do all this and all that kind of stuff. I think, sack the minister or not sack the minister, the fundamental problem is still there. And the chief samurai of our nation, and that's President Bola Ahmed, who has to take full responsibility
for what is going on. Well, I mean, I can totally understand with you, but you know, where the absurd has become the norm, it is difficult to question conspiracy theories. One of which is what has been flying around, that for all you care, there could be somebody smiling to the bank whenever this grade collapses. Mr. Fatunke, how do you wrap your thoughts?
I wrap it by saying you are right. I'm in an industry.
Okay.
You know I'm in oil and gas. So the regulation on the regulation and all that. Trillions of petrodollars. People have been smiling to the banks.
Yeah.
So this particular one, some people are smiling to the banks. In the educational sector, some people are smiling to the banks. In our healthcare delivery system, some people are smiling to the banks at the detriment of nationhood. So we must say something. Enough is enough. We have not done it well. We have not done it absolutely fantastically well. We must get back to our tents. We must sit around a table, have serious discussions about development, culture or no culture, irrespective. Embrace your culture in any way you want to embrace it. Let me embrace mine. I want to be able to look at my resources, develop my resources, develop my people, and think of what I'm going to put in the center.
Well,
restructuring.
Yeah. If that was even something to go by, then conspiracy may not be so conspiratorial after all. It's on this note that I wish to thank Mr. Fatunke for making it a date with us on Homo Politicus.
Always a pleasure to be here, Cyril.
Most certainly.
You are doing great things.
And
you are doing great things in Enterprise TV.
Thank you very much.
Keep up the touch.
We're proud. And that's, to the viewer, that's how far we can go on today's episode of the program. I've stood in for your regular host, Citizen Jones Hussein. Until Homo Politicus comes away again, it's bye for now.